Hello guys, welcome back to this Pygame series. In our last class, we were able to create this screen so that when our player and our goblin collide, then we will see this blue screen on the screen. But the issue now is once we have this blue screen, you click the space bar or move your mouse, click the mouse, nothing will happen, the blue background will still be there. So I want to be fixing this in this tutorial, and then as well our score, we want to fix our score and also add sound to this game. At the end of this tutorial, we'll have our game ready for player to play, and this may be the last, or I may personally decide to add the sprite class to teach you how to use sprite class in Pygame. We are going to do a lot in this tutorial, so I think we should just get started, go back to our code and do something. So the first thing we are going to do here is we are going to fix our screen so that once we have that screen there, and then the spacebar is striked or the mouse button is moved, then the screen should do game should be back active. So I'm going to say if game active, all this should be working. I'm going to bring game under, and then else I'm going to put a condition that would happen if the game is not active for the game to be active again. So I'm going to say if keys is if the particular key is Pygame dot or key space, then we should have our game active set to true. So once this happens, our game active should be set to true. But this is not really going to work without this, so I have to copy this to the code there. I have to paste it here, and as well, I don't just want one condition, but I want in case the mouse is click, the game should be back active. So I'm going to say something like if event dot type is equal to Pygame dot mouse in uppercase mouse button down. So if any of these condition happen, then our game should be back active again. So I'm going to save this and see if there will be changes in our game. So if we collide with the goblin, we'll see the blue screen, and if I hit the space bar, then you see that there's a flash in the screen. But this happens because the player is overlapping with the goblin, and unless the overlap stop, it will keep happening until the overlap stop. So to fix this, we are going to delete every goblin at that point, and then start the goblin loop again from the list. So I'm going to say enemy rec list is equal to, just like what we did the other time, enemy rec list is equal to this list enemy, and then for enemy in enemy rec list, and if for enemy to be in enemy rec list, then if enemy dot x, that's the width, is equal to -100, so at that point the enemy has to be there. And this is going to do the same thing that what we did earlier is doing. It's going to delete every goblin in the list before, and all the goblin position will be set to -100, and they will be coming from the right side afresh again. And I think with this I don't need the other part where we did it earlier, so I'm going to delete this part because it's going to do the same thing that the other one is doing. And then we are going to use this instead. We are using this instead. So let's see what is happening now. So we'll wait for the collision to happen, and then we'll see our screen. And once you hit the spacebar, it's back normal, and we'll collide again. Once you touch the mouse or click the mouse, sorry, I clicked the wrong place. Once you click the mouse on the environment, then the game is back active. So there are things I want to set. I want to work on our score so that our scores will be working fine. And to do that, I have to define a function for the score at the top of my code. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say something like score, which is equals to the score, and I'm going to use the enemy rec list here. So I'm going to make a global enemy rec list, and then I'm going to set a variable for our score. I'm going to set it to 0 by default. Then I'm going to say for enemy in enemy rec list, then if enemy dot right, that's the right side of our enemy, is less than 0, at that point by default the size is 780. So when it's less than 0, I think it should be negative number, then it's out of the screen, and then we want to increment our score with 1. I'm going to say score plus equal to 1. So we are going to add 1 to it, and at this point we have to like add our fonts here too as well, so that everything will be in the same function. So where we defined our font earlier, I'm going to copy this top, drop it here, and I think I need a space here. Then there are other where we add the score font the other time here. I'll copy this as well. I'll cut this order, and then where we bleed the font to the screen, I don't think we have to do it again, so we just have to remove it and put everything in the function there. So here I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to create a rectangle for our font, but before that I have to make this a format font, and then I have to add our score. So I formatted the font, so this is going to work, but I still have to delete the font and add a rectangle to the font. So I'm going to say font rect is equal to font dot get rect, and I want the position to be center, and then it's going to be equal to, I want the height to be 400, which is the midpoint, and I want the height to be somewhere 70, which is little from the top, and then I believe that's fine. Then the next thing is to bleed it to the screen, so I'm going to say screen dot bleed, and I'm going to call the font and font rect. So this is fine now. So I'm going to check if my score, but before that I have to call the score for it to work, and I have to return this because I'm going to assign it to a variable. So let me return this, and then I will set the variable here to 0. Let's say my score, I'll set it equal to 0 here, and then after where I draw the function, I call the draw function, I'm going to say my score is equal to score, which is the function I just created now, and I also want my score function on my screen. So I'm going to say my score is equal to score2 here, and I believe by now we should be able to see our score. And here we have our score, and then when I jump, our score is +1, +2, +3. So we have other means of getting our score, but I decided to use the number of the jump count to get my score. Like the first one I showed you, the first game, what I used there was the length, how long you were able to stay on the game. So I had multiple enemies, the fly and the rest, how long you were able to survive that. But if you look at it, if you observe it, the fly is literally doing nothing there. So I did not add it to this game, and the score, I decided to use the jump count because it's going to be much more interesting and engaging. for the player that is going to play this game. At least you will be able to track the number of time you jump, and if you fail, you could know the number of time you were able to jump successfully. And if you really want to do the exact same thing which I did, I'm going to drop the code in my GitHub so you can go there and copy everything. And if you have any challenges, you can reach out to me in any of my social media and I will help you through. So I'm going to work on this environment now. My focus is going to be here. I'm going to add the character, the name of the game, and a motivation for our player. So I'm going to deactivate my game now. So instead of the game, so that I will not be waiting for the collision before I will see what is happening. I will deactivate it to false, so I don't have to wait for the game to collide. So just now, once I play the game, I'll just see what happened. Oh, I didn't save it. If I save it now, I don't have to wait for it to collide before I see the part I want to be my intro page. So I want this to be my intro page. So you will first see this and you will last see this in the game. So I have to work on this. The color, I don't really like the blue color, it's too deep, so I want to make it lighter. So the red, I'm using color code, so I'm going to set the red to 0, the green I'm going to set it to 100, and the blue I'm going to set it to 200, which is going to give us a little lighter blue. And I need to like define a font for my game name, and I think I have to copy this font. I cannot type any font anymore. I kind of it's going to help me save time. So I'll copy this, and aside from saving time, well, why the stress? So let's just go easy. I'm going to come down here just for one line. You want me to type all this? No, I'm not doing that. So why I'm not really doing that is because I've done that a lot of time in this tutorial, and I believe you already know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them and change some things that I don't need. So like here, I want to change the name to player font because I'm not going to use the main font. I'm going to use my own font, and I want the size to be 40 in this case. And here, I'll change here to player font. And here, I'll change it to player font. And I don't want it to be a formatted string. I want it to just be the name of the game, which is Runnerman. You can give yours any name, and I want it to be styled, and I want it to be black. So no, I don't want it to be black. I want it to be a little bit sharp. So I want to make it something like yellow. Then the next thing I want to do is this rect to again. I have to change it to not just font but the font rect, and font.get. I think player font.get, and then set this to center, but it should not be in the same position with my score, so I'm going to set it at the top so that it will be a little bit up, and then I'm going to say player font here to delete it, and here should be player font rect. So by now I think I should be able to see the name of my game. Something went wrong. Did I mean what? Oh, player font, let me check. Okay, not player font rect or player font, that's what we need. Oh, sorry, to Z. Yeah, player fonts here. Oh, here. Player font. I think I fixed the problem. Now let's rerun again. Then you can see our runner here. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to have an image of our character there so that the screen will not just be that blank. I'm going to say something like the image. I'm going to make it Pygame dot image.load, and I'm going to set it to the image I want to use, and here you are supposed to specify your directory if you put your image in a different folder from your code, or my code and my resources are all in the same folder, so I don't have to specify any directory. I just have to call the name direct, which is standing dot png, and then I have to convert it again to a more usable form in Pygame. So I'll just convert var. Then I have to create a rectangle for it. So layer image rect is going to be equal to layer image dot get rect, and then I'm going to specify the rect now, which is going to be center to center, and then the position I think it should also be, which should also be 400, and the height should be kind of low a bit, so it should be 200, and I have to bleed it to the screen now, so I'm going to say screen dot bleed, then player image and player image rect. So I'll save this and then my screen. Let's see if we are going to have our player now. And you can see our player here, but it's a kind of, the size is small, so I want to make the size a little bit big. So I have to scale the size, and to scale size in Pygame, this is what you do. I say player image is equal to Pygame dot transform, and then dot scale, and if I just specify the image you want to scale, player image and the width and the height of the scale you want the image to be in, but I don't just want to specify any width and height, so I'm going to use another way of doing this, which is I'm going to use to scale it to twice the original size. I'm going to say 2x, and this will give us 2 times the size of our image. So when I run the game again, I'll get the twice the size of our game. And if I want to like rotate this image again, I can use the transform to like rotate the image upside down or to the right side. So to rotate the image, I can just say instead of using scale to S, I'll use roto zoom. This will help us to rotate the image, and after this, then comma I want to rotate it 180, that is upside down, and then I want to rotate it to the right or left, I can say 90 or minus 90. Then after that, but I don't just want to rotate it, I just want it to be 0, and I want to scale the image twice the size, or I can even make it 3 times the size of the original image. Once I save this now, I will get the same thing 2S scale will give me, but this time the size is now 3 times the size of the image, though it's not really looking good, but I just want it big like this because of the quality of the image is a bit poor, but I just like it like this. So I have to add the line of text I want at the bottom of the player, so I still have to copy this font again, copy this font, and then come down here, and then paste it here. So instead of player font, I'm going to call it the motivational font, or a mot font in short. And this time I don't want the size to be big, so I want the size to be 30, and I want the text to be bold, and as well I want it to be italic. So player font, not player font, but mot font, and then change this again to mot, and here I want to add a motivational word, so sometimes something like run as fast as your legs can carry you. You see, run as fast as your leg can carry you, and I want it to be styled, that's why it's true, and I want it to the color to be yellow too, and I have to change this again to mode here too. I have to change this to mode, and the position is going to be in the bottom, so I just want it to be mid bottom, not center anymore. And it has to be down, the height has to go down a little bit, so I'm going to set it to 400 too, which will be a very low. That's at the bottom here. Then speed of it, change the player to mode, and then here change the player to mode again, and let's see what we have right now. And you can see our intro screen is looking very fine. We have our player, we have our score. Right now our score is 0 because we haven't had any score, and then this is the motivation. Once I just hit the spacebar, we can start playing game. So everything is set now, but we don't have sound, so I want to show you how to add sound. And let's say you can add sound to wherever you want to jump, and see we have a score for. So to set the sound, or to add sound to the game, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to not here, I think it's here. I'm going to say music, and I'm going to say Pygame dot or mixer dot sound. This has to be in uppercase, LDS. Then the music is in the same folder with my code, so I just have to enter the name music dot mp3 and then that's all. I have my music in my code, so if I want to play it, this is all I need to do. Music dot play, and then the sound will play. And sometimes if you have other sound for like where you want to play a unique sound for where the character is jumping, or where the character collide, or things like that, you can just go to wherever you want to put it. Let's say I want to put a sound where the game is jumping, I can just come and call the sound here. The name I used to like set the sound to as a dot play, and then the sound will play here each time I jump, and it has to be as short as possible so that it will just play once and then die up. So with this, I think by now we should have a sound in our game playing. I'm going to set this and see if this is working. Mine is working, but I don't think you're going to hear it because my microphone, I set it to only microphone. So it's only my voice you can hear for now. So but yours should be playing at your own end there. Then the next thing I want to show you is, for instance, you have a short sound that you want to like replay as many times as you want it to replay. You can just come here, and then let's say if the sound finish, you want it to replay, you can say loop, and loop the sound too. Let's say loops, not just loop. And then you can set it to 3 times, so the sound can loop 3 times. Or if you want it to loop forever, you can just say -1, and then the sound will just loop forever. Whenever it's over, it will continue again. Whenever it's over, it will continue again. So I believe with this, we have really finished our game in a way. We want it, this is the intro page, and then the sound is playing. So once I hit the space bar, we have our game, and then our characters come in and they are spawning from different positions. So this is how it is. And the next tutorial, which I may likely do, is going to talk more on how to structure your code in Pygame using all those sprite classes to make your code look more professional. I believe you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. That's the only way you can support me, by the way. But thank you. I would love to see you in my next tutorial.